Welcome to this special episode. Thought I'd give you some insight into my own parts work just a bit, and thought a good title for this would be Roots, Reckonings, and Election Hangovers, a white guy's journey through parts, privilege, and progress. So for those that may be new listeners, this is Tim, and I'm diving into a reflection that's been simmering, a complex swirl of roots, identity, and all the parts of me that are showing up as I process last week's election here in the US. Some of you may be disappointed, relieved, exhausted, or just done with it. Whatever you're feeling, I hope you find a bit of resonance here. Even if my experience as a white guy with Southern roots on a unique journey may differ from your own. Speaking from my parts using internal family systems or IFS has been helpful as I process. So I wanted to share this, even if it's a little raw and vulnerable. And so hope you can glean some things from it. Let's dive in. So what is IFS? For new listeners, IFS is a therapeutic approach that sees us as made up of many parts, each with its own voice, emotions, and perspectives. It's helped me untangle the different parts of myself, listen to their needs, and honor the complexity of my story. IFS has been a powerful way to get to know myself better, and I'm grateful to share it with others because I believe each of us deserves to bring compassion and curiosity to all the parts that make us who we are. I grew up Southern Baptist in the heart of the South, where faith, family, and tradition formed a tight-knit community. I'm grateful for the people who raised me and for the values that helped me find my way to college, the first in my immediate family to go. Some of these folks still resonate with Donald Trump's message of protecting what feels familiar. And parts of me understand that. There's even a part that wonders, what if I'd stayed in that bubble? That part of me is drawn to the stability, simplicity, and comfort of tradition. It likes someone who's not afraid to disrupt norms and speak directly regardless of convention. After college, I moved to San Francisco for grad school, where my world expanded and my views cracked wide open. I met people from every background, lived with a Black family for years who became like parents to me, and I served on staff at their church during seminary. This family even walked me down the aisle at my wedding, as my own parents had already passed away from the difficulties and realities of their lives, living and growing up in Southern Appalachia. My time in San Francisco reshaped me. I met my wife Tessa, started a family, and began to see faith and justice through a new lens. That season of my life left me deeply invested in inclusion, progress, compassion. On one hand, I attended a progressive Episcopal church, and on the other hand, I taught at a Southern Baptist seminary. A perfect example of how my views were cracked wide open. And this part of me feels pained by Trump's election, worried about what it means for my kids, particularly my daughters, and for people who don't have the same privilege I do. And speaking of privilege, there's a part of me that feels discomfort as a white man in a society where that identity comes with certain advantages. I may not align with Trump or a lot of the Republican Party, but I can see how his promise of security in keeping with norms, quote unquote, resonates with people who look like me. Even though I've changed, some lingering parts of me still carry beliefs I grew up with, ideas rooted in patriarchy, racism, white supremacy, and homophobia. I'm choosing to engage with these parts, not with shame, but with awareness, and challenging them a bit. It's like holding up a mirror and choosing to look even when it's uncomfortable, because that's how real change starts. Another part of me feels the tension around relationships. To have friends and family who openly support Donald Trump, and some make light of his win like it's just another sports victory, a Clemson football game where I come from. But I can't laugh it off. There's a part that wants to keep those relationships strong, while another part knows I can't compromise my own values. This part longs for unity, but also knows I have to stay true to what feels right for me. And I'll admit, there's a little escapist part of me that sometimes fantasizes about moving somewhere more aligned with my values. But there's also a grounded part that knows real change doesn't happen by opting out. It believes we have to face the hard stuff right here, standing alongside those who don't have the choice to leave. This part is grounded in resilience and commitment. Ironically, a lot of that comes from my Southern upbringing, believing that staying and showing up matters, even when things feel bleak. IFS talks about self-energy, the compassionate core within each of us that can hold space for every one of these parts. Self is that steady presence, the core of who we are that doesn't need to solve these conflicts, but listens, accepts, and holds each voice without judgment. And self reminds me that I am beloved, that I'm allowed to show up as I am in all of my belovedness. And if I'm honest, sometimes my beloved mess. Self is the gifts of all my parts at their best, working together to make me who I am today. It's that centered presence that says, I don't have to fit neatly into any one box. I am my Southern roots, my progressive evolution, my privilege, my wrestlings, and my hope for a better world. They don't always agree, but together they make me whole. As I sit with all these parts, I come back to something that has always centered me. Loving God, loving others, and learning it's also okay to love myself. IFS has helped me see that loving others and loving myself don't have to be at odds. In fact, as I get better at listening to and caring for my own parts, I find that I'm able to love others more fully from a place that's genuine and grounded. Self-love, I'm realizing, isn't selfish. It's necessary. If I'm going to be present for the people in my life and the work I'm called to do, I need to bring compassion to every part of myself, just as I do for others. So thanks so much for taking a bit and listening as I reflect today. If this reflection gives you a bit of clarity, a sense of connection, or simply the reminder that all your parts are worthy of listening to, then I think we're moving in the right direction. Let's keep showing up together, honoring every part of ourselves, and making room for growth. And until we connect again, take care and keep all your parts in tow.